What is going on, everybody? Is episode 831 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here with my co-host. Introduce yourself, please.
Hello, crisis actors. It's Mary. Big day for Catholics, I heard. White smoke. We have a pope. Just thought I would get that out of the way, because we're not talking about the Pope today.
I was going to literally just say, so what do you think of the Pope before I even introduced you?
Pope Culture Crisis. Believe it or not. We are still in the realm of pop culture today.
Yes.
That's
what we're saying.
Fairly clever.
Yeah.
Pope Culture Crisis. I didn't even come up with that.
Who did?
There is a.
I saw it in the chat.
There's a Pope Crave account on X.
Wait, so is that like owned by the same people who own Pop Crave? If you don't know what Pop Crave is, Pop Crave is like a Twitter handle that that curates a whole bunch of stuff going on in pop culture. There's a bunch of different accounts like that, but now Mary's telling me there's Pope Crave, and I'm just thinking of some Zoomer at the Vatican creating the Pope Crave X account.
Are there really Zoomers at the Vatican, do you think?
There's got to be in the social media.
Zoomers are pretty old now. They do have jobs at the Vatican, but we have Phil joining us.
Hello, everybody. My name is Phil Labonte. I'm the lead singer of the heavy metal band All That Remains. I'm an anti-communist and counter-revolutionary. Let's make this go away.
Yeah, let's
I can almost guarantee, actually, that there are Zoomers working at the Vatican. We have a 20, though.
Yep, go for it.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Thrashing Thursday, Brett, Mary, and Phil. Habemus Papam Augustinian Cardinal Robert Prevost is now Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope from Chicago. It was nice to see the traditional papal vestments." Yeah, I don't know anything about him yet, honestly.
Well, he's alleged to have gone to the same school, not at the same time, as Tim Pool.
Oh, really?
Yes, because he's from the same area, I suppose.
They knew each other. No,
well,
not really.
They passed each other on the street.
I'm sure they've probably been in the same general vicinity before.
Within a few blocks.
Yeah.
I imagine.
All right, so Mary's going to do her research on the new Pope today, and then she'll talk about it later.
I've got a lot of work to do.
We got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, hit the like button on this video and subscribe to the channel. If you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. Especially if you've already subscribed on YouTube, you can now also go over to Rumble and subscribe to our channel over there, which we have. I got headway today that apparently there's another fake account.
What?
So, yeah, I don't know if it's still there.
Wait, are we like Streisand affecting it now,
Probably.
where more people are gonna try to catfish as us?
Or it was the same person because we got the last one deleted.
Okay, the new imposter has 3 followers. Oh, lame, irrelevant. No one cares about you. But we have 735 followers on Rumble currently.
We are working our way to 1,000. We're gonna catch up to that. We're gonna catch up to our YouTube amount any day now.
Yeah.
So
I don't even know if there are 350,000 people on Rumble, but
if they are, they should watch our channel.
Yeah.
Yes, guys. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel on both YouTube and on Rumble, and follow us on social media as well. So what are we getting into today? Well, a bunch of stuff. I kind of want to go a little bit through this topic about The Batman 2, which is, I don't know if you'd call it production hell, but it's certainly in writing production hell, as the original Batman came out in 2022 and it was supposed to be out this year. The sequel is supposed to be out this year. We're going to talk about it because director and writer Matt Reeves is no longer director-writer. He's now just writer on the film. They're saying that he has dropped out of directing duties, so we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Miley Cyrus, who is, she's got her gayest album ever coming out. Her words, not mine.
Yeah, and also Lorde is promoting her upcoming album and talking about her gender identity. It's just showing that these pop stars are behind the times. They don't understand that this isn't cool anymore.
Oh, I think it's because they know their market. That audience is firmly in territory for them. So we'll talk about that. We are also going to talk about Grounded in the Stars. If you don't know what that is, they have erected a brand new statue in Times Square that is challenging, I guess, traditional norms in society. It's a larger woman who looks like she's
black lady.
She looks like she's about to call for the manager in the pose. So we're going to talk about that. If they really are, is it art? Is it not art? Deep discussions to be had here today. Also, Ozempic face. And if you don't know what the hell that is, it is an absolute horror story. It looks like an Edmund Munch painting for some of these celebrities.
Not just Ozempic face, because we have covered the phenomenon of Ozempic face before. But we want to get into Ozempic mouth.
So, mouth. Yes, that was the specific one.
A new symptom of the drug.
So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. If you guys are ready, we will just
Phil?
go.
Just the whole thing is just disgusting.
The Ozempic mouth?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 Well, this is what it is.
That's
This
what
is
we
the
do
show.
here.
I don't know what to
This is
say,
what it
Phil. This is what we do here.
Well, I mean,
Tell me about it, bro.
No offense. It's not neither you should take it personally, but there's a lot of things that we cover on here that are fairly disgusting.
You know, it's at least more entertaining than the nightly political news, in my opinion.
Well, then, if you guys are ready, we will go. Mary, are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Phil, are
Let's
you
go.
ready? All right. So, if you guys remember, The Batman came out in 2022. It was directed by director Matt Reeves and written by Matt Reeves as well. It starred Robert Pattinson as a younger Batman. It went on to make, I think, $770+ million at the box office on a $200 million budget. And given the struggles that DC had been having at the time trying to get things right with their movies, it was considered a pretty rousing success for them. So a sequel was greenlit immediately, and they said that sequel was going to be out in October of 2025. We've now had 8,000 different delays on this movie. It has once again been pushed to October of 2027 now.
Jesus.
And director-writer Matt
27?
Reeves,
Oh my
and director-writer
gosh.
Matt Reeves has dropped out of writing, or has dropped out of directing duties for this film.
I just think anything exceeding 3 years for a sequel means just give up.
Well, in
If it's anything more than 3 years between the first movie and the sequel, you clearly are not serious.
Well, the worst part is that the whole selling point was it was supposed to be like young, unpolished Bruce Wayne, and by the time that I tweeted earlier, I said by
Robert
the time they
Pattinson
get done,
is going to be a senior
he's
citizen by the time they get this out.
instead of a Bat credit card, he's going to have a Bat AARP card
This
that
is
he's going to use to get
insane.
people. And look, if I was to give you my thoughts on the Batman, when I saw it, I thought it was fine. I think it was theater haze, meaning that I liked it more because I was in the theater. I tried to watch it at home again. Too long, too boring. I don't care about it.
It was awful. It was
Yeah.
remarkably bad, and I was shocked that people liked it. I was shocked at the relative success that it had at the box office because it was one of the most painfully boring movies I've ever watched. Seriously, I could barely get through it.
I'm pleased that I never saw it.
Yeah.
It was like getting water tortured. It was awful.
It wasn't that bad,
It
but it
was
was definitely
terrible.
I mean, it breaks my number one rule, which is that it's exceedingly long, like annoyingly. It's like 2 hours and 55 minutes.
Look, just make a Robert Pattinson Sigma grind set edit. You don't need to make a whole movie out of it.
I don't even
And
know
it's
what
like
any of that is.
he's doing
Sigma
these
grind set.
He's doing these like puzzles, and then there's the Riddler, and he's like moaning weirdly
and the
all
music,
the time.
and then the music cuts in.
yeah, and it's just it
And
was never good.
And the Riddler somehow took on Gotham City with all of 500 people following him on 4chan. Here's the thing. So since James Gunn took over DC, it's become a completely different ballgame now. So James Gunn is in charge of what's called the Gods and Monsters, which is all of the superhero movies, whereas the Batman movies that Matt Reeves was making were qualified as Elseworld stories under an Elseworlds banner. And Pam Abdy and Mike DeLuca, who are in charge of Warner Brothers Pictures, have thrown their support behind James Gunn, who they say with their first viewings of cuts of Superman say that they're in good hands. I still have my own questions about that because I think he's made Superman more about himself than about the actor playing Superman or even Superman the character. But when you have new management in charge and they can't seem to even get a script out of the writer, being Matt Reeves, and now that director has gone on to drop out of directing duties, I have to wonder if there's a little bit of a curse going on over there. So if you guys remember, Ben Affleck was supposed to direct his own Batman movie when he was still playing Batman, and that was when it all fell apart for him, and in a lot of ways fell apart for Zack Snyder's Justice League.
He was supposed to star and direct.
And write his own Batman movie. There's been a bunch of great retrospectives that have been made about that falling apart. But then you also had what happened with Zack Snyder. He had to drop out of the last Justice League movie because of tragedy within his family. And now what has been said since January from sources like Grace Grace Randolph, who got a bunch of backlash for it, and Paul Tassi, is that Matt Reeves has his own health crisis going on, which is preventing him from getting this movie made. Now, he hasn't made any statement on the matter or confirmed that in any way, but there was a whole bunch of backlash about people reporting on this, which called into question for a lot of people, like, what is the role of people in this space talking about, unconfirmed reports. But the thing is that was in January before he dropped out as director. If anything now, if the fact that he's now no longer handling directing duties, that seems to signal that something is preventing all of this stuff from getting done and getting worked on, whether that's his own health issues or incompetence over at Warner Brothers is anyone's guess, or just the fact that it's been pushed to the back burner because they're focused on James Gunn and everything that he's doing with Superman and the spin-off movies that are going to be in his part of the universe. I say just cancel it.
It doesn't need to exist.
Look,
anymore.
if the first movie was really, really good, right? And then you get these extensive delays. It's still not a great look because, again, the whole point of the story was supposed to be young, unpolished Bruce Wayne becomes Batman. He's got a suit that he looks like he's made himself. Whatever. I get it. But now he's like got his crutches and his walker, and Robert Pattinson's made like 6,000 movies since then. The bloom is in a lot of ways off the rose on that story idea. And if he is so old by the time the third one comes out that they have to adapt a Batman Beyond story because he's too old to play Batman and they got to get Terry McGinnis in there, I don't think that it really works. And I think that for the most part, Warner Brothers, what they want to do, I think that Robert Pattinson, this is my idea, and I'm just going to go off on a mild tangent. Robert Pattinson actually has great comedic timing as an actor in a dark comedic sense. And I think...
What, like Mickey 17?
Like that, but in general, I think it's just because he's British and, you know, they've got a dark sense of humor to begin with.
Sure.
A dry sense of humor. I think what you do is you just abandon the project as a whole, and then you actually do bring him into the less serious Gods and Monsters universe of James Gunn as some type of darkly humorous Batman in that world. Now, if you still want to continue with the Matt Reeves-esque stuff, then you better back up the money truck to Colin Farrell for the Penguin Season 2 Electric Boogaloo. But even he said that he's not really if I remember correctly, not really super interested in that.
No, he said that he's like actually not going to do it.
Because because the makeup takes 10,000 hours to put on and stuff like that. I don't know. Like, it's like you said, I just don't know if people are going to care by the time this actually comes out. 2027 is 5 years later.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So I think that it's probably a mix of incompetence and either health issues for Matt Reeves, or some people thought misconduct behind the scenes. Yeah. And we don't know, but I don't really agree with the backlash to commenting on it or speculating about it.
In the chat, I have no idea what they're talking about, but Ben Canceled says, or no, not Ben Canceled. Real Data Please says Independence 2 was the worst movie I'd seen in years. Yeah, and that was like 20 years after the original Independence Day, which came out in 1995 or 97, and then Independence Day 2 came out in like 2017 and something. Did have great trailers, but was a genuinely bad movie.
But how old is too old? Because Robert Pattinson is currently 38 years old.
Again, that's not a very young Batman.
And they have not filmed anything.
No. Starting filming this coming, not even this year, but in 2026.
So that's pushing it.
Yeah. I don't think that there's going to be a market for this in the same way.
I think that the amount of praise the first Batman with Robert Pattinson got was merely proof that we're inundated with so much slop that our standards have just been collectively lowered. It was objectively not a good movie.
I think part of it was also like, look, when they were doing the other DC movies at that time was when they were trying to copy Marvel's formula and failing to do so. Meaning that whether it was, I guess Aquaman made a lot of money in 2018, but past that, you know, it was a bunch of movies that tried to copy the Marvel formula in tone. And the Batman was a return to a unapologetically serious movie, and people were kind of enamored with the idea that we could get that type of film again. But it was just overly long and overly like it took itself somehow a Batman
Wasn't it
movie.
like 3 hours?
It was 2 hours and 55 minutes.
That's
if I remember
insane.
correctly. Yeah.
Is Zoe Kravitz gonna be in the sequel?
I'm
Like,
sure
I don't
she
know
will.
what
I'm
they're
sure she
even
will.
planning to do.
I would be interested to know in the chat, guys, whether you have any interest. Avatar does not count. I see somebody saying Avatar 2 is good. I actually liked the Avatar sequel, but I kind of consider James Cameron.
Slop.
James Cameron is his own entity, and that's one of the movies that's coming out this year is the third one. And I imagine that right now, like all the computers are actually just like coding files for Avatar. They started now, and they'll finish right around Christmas.
It's going to take a severe toll on the environment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like when you really think about it.
Even though the first Avatar at least was a commentary on climate change.
I was, I saw somebody say.
First Avatar was just barely a commentary on climate change. It was just a rehash of Pocahontas.
Yeah, pretty much.
It says in the chat, Adam Ledgway says, Matt finished War of the Planet of the Apes, then took it from 2022 and War was in 2017. Yeah, it's a long time between movies, but there weren't as many years between the 3 Planet of the Apes movies that he did. But again, if we're to at least put some credence in the idea that perhaps there's something going on that's preventing him from getting this movie made, it's not a good sign for DC fans.
I have it wrong. Robert Pattinson is actually 38 years, 11 months, and 24 days
So he's basically
old.
39.
And in the context
Wait,
of
what's
the
his
Batman
birthday?
2, it's coming up on May 8th.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no. Maybe... Was it May 16th? In the context of the Batman 2, Robert Pattinson has joked about his age, saying, I'm going to be the effing old Batman for the sequel.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do
So even
Batman.
he knows it.
They're gonna have to do the Dark Knight Returns again by the time he gets there for the second one, and for the third one, they're gonna have to do Batman Beyond. It's not a good look for DC fans. It'll be interesting to look at, guys, because there's a fair amount of interest around Superman. But I would concur. I would say that James Gunn has put too much of the focus on himself and less of the focus on David Corenswet, and you can't really get people to give up on the Henry Cavill thing if you can't put forth a Superman that can kind of stand on his own 2 feet. So if that does succeed, it does well, and that movie is of the utmost importance to Warner Brothers right now. That's even more of a reason to just push that Batman to the background. The other reason why I kind of balk at the idea that $770 million is a win for them, even though it is financially a $200 million budget with a $770 million return is a success. Batman is your core character to DC, and I think when people think of Batman now, they don't think he should be making less than $1 billion on any movie.
Definitely. But what do you mean by James Gunn making it about himself?
The focus is always about him. Like, they're not marketing it as David Corenswet's Superman movie. It's James Gunn's Superman movie because he's making it, and they're not allowing this actor to find his footing and come out and try to show off what he's capable of doing as a star.
Yeah.
So it feels like they're hiding him in a way, and it's more about James Gunn's ego and less about the story itself.
I agree.
So
that's what it seems like.
He has a
for me.
massive ego, and he engages heavily with fans online.
Gets
and
into
that's,
back and forths with people.
Look, and
Tries to correct people.
I really liked his Suicide Squad movie. I thought it was fantastic. I think that he's a good director, but the Suicide Squad characters are not Superman, who should be, leading the movie himself. So we'll have to wait and see, but given all of the news that keeps coming out, it may be worth keeping an eye on something like this because it feels like it's just never-ending bad news for the Batman sequel.
Robert De Niro's Nepo baby came out as transgender last month in a gigantic media spread with an outlet called Them. That's literally the name of the magazine, is a pronoun. And it's titled, Erin De Niro is ready to be seen on her own terms. After surviving the tabloids, this actress opens up about transitioning, visibility, and life as the daughter of Hollywood legends. And now, in response, Robert De Niro has been asked for a public statement on the matter, and he has publicly shown support for his daughter's transition. This means that this is a male who identifies as female, to be clear. And he said, I loved and supported Aaron as my son, and now I love and support Erin, spelled A-I-R-Y-N, as my daughter. I don't know what the big deal is. I love all my children.
Oh, really? You don't know what the big deal is? You can't figure it out?
In a powerful interview with them, Aaron shared details about growing up as one of the 2-time Oscar winner's 7 children. Aaron's mother is actress Tukey Smith and has a twin brother named Julian. Aaron said, "There's a difference between being visible and being seen. I've been visible. I don't think I've been seen yet." And then noted...
That's the most disturbing bit of modernity I've ever heard in my entire life.
It's because about a month ago, I believe Daily Mail reported on Aaron De Niro dressing up with pink hair and high heels in public before coming out. And it felt like getting exposed and forced out of the closet before she was ready. So they're talking about the tabloids taking advantage of her. Aaron also noted, "No parent is perfect, but I'm grateful that both of my parents agreed to keep me out of the limelight. They have told me they wanted me to have as much of a normal childhood as possible." I find that hard to believe, honestly.
Worked out great.
I don't think that really panned out the way they hoped. And now, because you've kept your child out of the limelight, it looks like they have a special plan to make a name for themselves another way. By coming out as some marginalized group.
Yeah. I mean...
It's just attention-seeking behavior, really.
It's weird, too, because for Hollywood actors, it actually makes more sense because people have even... Or, like, people in Hollywood, it makes even more sense because people have even less... give them even less leeway than the average person because they consider them to be disconnected from reality and they consider them to be utterly privileged, right? So how do you escape the confines of being considered utterly privileged?
We really need to compare the actual numbers of the general population that say they have a trans child and people in the Hollywood sphere who say they have a trans child. Because it's gotten to the point where it's a majority. It almost seems the majority of them have at least one kid who identifies as trans or non-binary.
Or multiple.
Or multiple, including Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. Like, each one from different marriages has a trans identifying daughter. Charlize Theron is one of them. Megan Fox. You could go down the list. There are countless celebrities who have trans children. But we're not talking about a teenager. Aaron De Niro is 29 years old. That's a full-blown adult man. And I think that given what I've read in this interview, this 29-year-old is trying to regress publicly.
For the sake of attention?
Yeah, for the sake of getting attention, because after living in the shadow of these famous parents of yours, you feel like you need to make a name for yourself, and the easiest way to do that in this day and age is coming out. That's the simple truth of the matter. In fact, this one part was kind of disturbing. They say Erin's first appointment at a black hair salon, which she made after seeing Halle Bailey's dreadlocks in The Little Mermaid, marks a turning point in her journey toward liberatory gender expression.
Liberatory?
So what we're saying is a 29-year-old male went to go see a Disney princess movie for children and decided to get the same hairstyle as the Disney princess.
Did we miss this 20?
And be celebrated.
Or did we get this one? I apologize.
Oh, we did not get that one.
From Not That John Stewart says, "Greetings from Sonic Temple. Phil, we are missing you."
Sorry to hear that.
Sorry for missing your super chat. Apologies. So that's just a grown man regressing into childlike behaviors to seek attention. Yeah. And then Robert De Niro gets the perfect opportunity to publicly support it and then get praised as a result. Same way that happened with Marlon Wayans, who has a son that identifies as a daughter. And he recently went on Michelle Obama's failing podcast to talk about it. It seems like Marlon Wayans, only talks about his trans child at this point. I haven't heard him talk about anything else in the headlines.
Phil loves
for months.
This stuff.
But here was this video of their interview.
Wanted to talk, Marlon, a bit about just so proud of how you are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. Would you care to share that journey of?
Well, I learned.
I wanted to.
So that was her praising him.
Yeah. It's just the perfect opportunity to make yourself seem like a hero, and people will praise you for being a good ally parent.
Yeah.
And it's just Munchausen's by proxy.
In the industry, also, it's great for as cynical as it sounds, it's great for headlines when you're not working on projects and stuff like that. Like, that's disturbing.
Your
to think
next
about,
project is your kid.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah,
truly,
it's disturbing.
And if I recall correctly, I believe that in the case of Marlon Wayans, his child came out while still a minor, right?
I believe so.
I think that we talked about that when we first covered.
Well, because he implemented it, included it in like his latest comedy special.
Yeah, it was called like Rainbow Child, and he was using his comedy special to talk about the fact that he has a trans child and kind of bring light to the issue.
Yeah.
And another actor, Dylan O'Brien, recently posted to Instagram about his appreciation and gratitude to know his trans sibling, Jules O'Brien, who is a female that identifies as male. Then it's so perfect. This trans sibling of his commented on his post and said, "He hasn't spoken to me in over a year. He didn't check in when I had top surgery. He didn't even wish me a happy birthday last week. But glad I could deepen his experience in this world and make the world love him that much more."
Well, that was passive aggressive. I mean, that's the problem when you deal with subjects of identity and public support, is that it starts to become a transactional relationship. And it's no longer about actually caring about a person. It's about caring about them in the way they want you to care about them, which is not always going to be the same thing for everybody.
Yeah, but at least in this example, what's clearly happening is this actor, Dylan O'Brien, is using his relation to someone who identifies as trans to get public support, while evidently not giving a shit about them behind the scenes. And I believe if he really did care, he would have discouraged his sister from going through with that procedure, which mutilates her for life. But even aside from that, he's not even living up to the standard of a trans ally by their own terms.
Yeah, well, it's
all
only
a facade.
Only their terms are acceptable. And if he did express any discontent with the choice that person was making, they would be then roundly insulted in the media for not being enough of an ally.
Well, sure, but even by their own standards, he's not supportive behind the scenes. He's only supportive on a public level that will get him praise and support from chronically online stans.
I mean, I don't even know if it's about like necessarily getting, how much of it is like getting praise and support and how much of it is just like keeping people off your back. I feel like if it was about getting praise and support, then he'd be more involved in an even faker way with them and trying to talk about them as much as possible because it does drum up support. I think he did just enough to prevent people from being mad at him initially by making some statement at all. And that sucks when you have to turn human connection into some type of transactional relationship. That's depressing.
And by the way, we just talked about this yesterday, but Robert De Niro is co-starring alongside Jenna Ortega in a new movie directed by David O. Russell, who is accused of assaulting his trans-identifying niece and actually admitted to it publicly. He admitted that it happened and that he didn't see why it was wrong. And
that's a real thing.
Now we're led to believe that because Robert De Niro made this public statement supporting his trans daughter, that he's some kind of ally.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no consistency. I would at least appreciate if they could be consistent in their own stated values, but they never are.
I wonder if this stuff would have been curbed if like social media had never become a thing.
What stuff?
Like anything to do with Hollywood. Obviously, for a very long time, Hollywood is like they've done stories about transgenderism, or they've done stories about drag queens. It's always been in the mix as far as Hollywood entertainment, but it's not like you saw it, how it related to them off screen, right? And until social media, there wasn't a currency behind these types of beliefs.
Yeah, I agree, but it has been going on for even longer than that. I believe Cher has a child who identifies as trans. But when you look into the story, you realize that even in this pre-social media era, Cher was basically encouraging that to happen from the time when her child was very young. Yeah. So it predates that, but social media definitely doesn't help. And I also wanted to mention that Robbie Starbuck posted about a year
Megan
or two
Fox,
ago
right?
about living in the same neighborhood as Megan Fox and her children.
Man,
and that
Robbie Starbuck must be doing good money. Must be making good money.
This,
Holy
like,
crap.
Gated community in LA, and he recalled her children at the playground with their nanny saying that their mom was forcing them to wear girl clothes. Okay,
again,
so we know what's going on.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if I highly doubt that Robbie Starbuck was just making that stuff up out of thin air, and it fits perfectly with what you could have easily made an educated guess. Like, we know what's going on in those families.
Yep. All right. Let us move on then. Let's talk about it. What would you like to see, cringe or cute of the day?
Phil wants to see cringe.
Of course,
first,
cringe.
always.
Get it out of the way.
Cringe first, then. How bad is this one, Mary?
It's pretty bad. I would say it's an 8 for me. This man is buying an engagement ring for his VR anime girlfriend.
I'm here with my girlfriend, looking to buy her like a nice ring. She's a size 6.5. Just a regular ring, diamond ring. Come on, babe, let's go check it out. Oh yeah, can I try that one on her? Can you just put it on her? Oh yeah. Yeah, you can just slide it on her really quick. Just the way, like you can like slide it like she likes that one. So it's $450. I have $450, but what I'm gonna do is put down $330 on a hand of blackjack.
Okay, this is like a skit.
If I win this blackjack hand, I'm gonna buy the ring for her. I'm gambling as well. I've given up on the girl of my dreams. A 19 versus a 10, I'm standing that. We won. Oh no, I'm here with my...
The music.
Why is the sales rep going along with it?
Because it's fake. Because everything's fake.
I don't know.
It's fake.
It seems kind of real to me.
All right. Well, you know what? That's pretty much exactly what happened when me and Olivia got an engagement ring. Pretty much the same thing. I put a hand of blackjack down and then bought the ring.
The VR headset and everything.
Yeah. Well, she was in the other room, and honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let's do cute of the day here, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know, we have people submit their pets so that they can brag about them on air. This one is from Terrence Rice. Sup, here's my crested geckos, Bruni the Brunt Orange, and my new female Matcha, M-A-T-C-H, the psycho-feminist. So, Matcha's a feminist.
But that is the correct spelling of matcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love the name.
Matcha?
I love matcha.
As a name for a gecko?
Well, and just matcha in general.
All right. Here we go.
Thank you.
So I don't know which one this is, but I'll go through them. They do look like, oh, they're both there.
Like, I don't know if I can call a gecko cute, but if you find it cute,
there you go.
I mean, that's kind of cute.
There you go. I like it. All right. If you guys don't know, if you're new here, you can submit your pets for Cringe of the Day.
For Cute of the Day,
for,
not
did I say
Cringe
cringe?
of the Day.
And for, I mean, if they do something really cringe, I guess. But
Yeah,
we don't
sure.
take submissions for cringe because then everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
For Cute of the Day, tag me on X at Brett Dasovic and use the hashtag PCCPets, and we will get them queued up so that you can brag about them on air.
All right. Miley Cyrus is currently promoting her upcoming album called Something Beautiful. And people are saying she is going to have a downfall similar to Katy Perry, who can barely even sell out her tour in the US as it stands currently. She said, in response to a question about how gay her album will be, "It's not only my best album, but my gayest. Her gayest album yet."
You know what this is? This is that Variety interviewer who shows up and there's this, if you guys don't know, there's this one interviewer for Variety whose entire job is to torpedo every movie and television show that comes out whenever they do these premieres by asking them questions about how gay their movie is, and then the actors, so they don't get in trouble, have to be like, yeah, it's
so
super
gay.
It's super
so
gay.
So gay. You have no idea. It's
Personally,
gay explosion.
I love that guy because he provides us with endless content.
But he was probably the one that asked this question of Miley Cyrus.
That guy was, my favorite was like when they were doing the Agatha all along like red carpet thing. Like, to be fair, if there was ever a show where it actually fit, it was that one. But that guy's hilarious, and he's probably his brother doing this interview here.
Yeah, he has soldiers out there. But she's clearly doing this to pander to the gay audience who are the most dedicated so she can sell more. But I think that it just shows these pop stars, especially the aging pop stars like Miley Cyrus, they don't know what's cool anymore. Like, they don't know where the culture is at if they still think that, you know, making everything gay is the trend. Like, you're well behind the times if you don't know that's not cool anymore at this point. And some people were defending this by saying, no, it's because Miley actually is gay, even though she was married to a man. She's pansexual or something. She might have said she was like pansexual one time, but this is not true. I found a quote of hers saying that she actually is straight and she felt like she had to be gay. This was, I believe, post-divorce. There are good men out there, guys. Don't give up. You don't have to be gay. There are good people with dicks out there. You just gotta find them.
She said that?
I always thought I had to be gay because I thought all guys were evil, but it's not true. There are good people out there that just happen to have dicks. So
that's
she's
not like a
definitely
Babylon
straight.
Bee headline.
No, that's a real quote from Miley Cyrus back in 2023, I think.
Okay.
After she'd already divorced Liam Hemsworth. And now she has pivoted and is trying to identify with her gay audience.
Well, I mean,
suddenly.
that makes perfect sense.
Pretty transparent what she's doing.
In the female pop music space, that is a huge sector of your audience. You have to pander.
And one of those good men with dicks out there might be her dad, who she's reconnecting with currently.
Why do stories like this give me the sense that like the entire LGBT lobby is comprised of terrorists?
I think they're panicking, honestly. Like, because they realize that they're losing cultural ground specifically on this issue. So either pop
they are
stars,
losing influence, aren't they?
Yeah. Either pop stars like Katy Perry and Miley Cyrus are genuinely just out of touch and they haven't updated their view of what's culturally relevant, or they're doubling down to try to combat their receding influence. But I wanted to mention just offhand that her mother, Tish Cyrus, has just unfollowed her after it was announced that she was reconnecting her relationship with her dad, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Wow.
Who had that really bad performance at like some Trump event, if I remember correctly.
He did, at the inauguration.
Yeah, he like tried to sing and it didn't go well.
No, there was like, it was a technical difficulty. It was, but he was also really drunk on stage.
Yes.
And trying to get the whole audience to sing Old Town Road.
Yeah.
It was bad. And then another example of this is Lorde, who is promoting her upcoming album that's coming out in June. It's called Virgin. And the album art she has chosen for Virgin is an X-ray image of what appears to be a female pelvis, where you can see clearly a seatbelt buckle and an IUD inside the pelvis.
Gross.
I don't know what the symbolic meaning of that could possibly be, but...
Feminism is just like women being gross. Just like rub period blood on everything and be disgusting.
talk about your uterus. And
Yeah, just get naked. Even
See,
though
women
you're
don't
out
like
of
it when
shape.
men. When women say they don't like men for discussing behavior, what they mean is we don't like discussing behavior that doesn't have some pseudo-intellectual bend to it. Like, it's okay to be disgusting as long as you give some lame pseudo-intellectual reason for your lame behavior.
Well, if I had to guess the symbolic meaning behind that album art, it has the seat buckle, the IUD. It's kind of like maybe a chastity belt. She feels like she's been repressed and she's liberating herself or something like that. She's also spoken recently at the Met Gala about her evolving gender identity because she custom designed her outfit that night to express where she's at gender-wise. Let's look at this interview with Emma Chamberlain.
I ask
I'm
this
sure it's gonna be
question of
great.
myself every day.
I've never seen anything like this from Tom Brown. Tell me everything about it.
Okay, so this is custom Tom Brown. This is my creation. It's something of an Easter egg. More will be revealed, but I just love the open back. To me, it like really represents where I'm at,
Yeah.
gender-wise.
Yeah. I love it.
I feel like
Wait, wearing backless clothes is indicative of your gender?
Yeah.
a man and a woman, you know,
Yes.
kind of fire. But,
Absolutely.
it's a take on the cummerbund. Tom
It's
Brown did all this
amazing.
deconstructed tailoring.
So she says she feels like a man and a woman at the same time, and this outfit is an Easter egg for her upcoming album.
She has no idea what a man feels like. Not even the most remote concept of what it's like to be a man, what a man feels like. You're an idiot and you're embarrassing.
This is a fundamental truth. A man is never going to know what it feels like
No.
to be a woman, and a woman
No.
is never going to know what it feels like
Never.
to be a man. But you can come up with some amalgamation of that feeling based on clothes or makeup or shoes.
Wasn't
or...
her
Clothes
whole
that you
gimmick
wear
that
have
she
nothing
grew up
to
poor?
do with being a man or being a woman. You can, like, men shouldn't wear female clothes, but women can wear whatever they want, and it does not make them more of a man or more masculine. Women can wear, you can dress a woman up like a construction worker, and all she becomes is a sexy construction worker. Like that, they're Halloween costumes. Like everything that a man can be, a woman can just dress up that way, and if they're in decent shape, it's just a sexy whatever it is. If you do that with a man, you look like an idiot.
Yep. What you were saying?
Wasn't her thing that she just grew up poor?
Lord?
Yeah.
That was definitely a theme on her debut album, which is her only good album.
I
ever.
mean, if I'm
It's been
her,
over a decade since Lord has put out any music
if
worth
I'm
listening to.
if I'm her, that's what I'm leaning into right now. Income inequality. That's what people are really looking to hear you talk about.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
she's
what-
rich now, so she's not allowed to do that. You know, you can't really.
She got out of the hood with this one.
She already got out of the hood,
Yeah.
so she's fine with that. But
The amount of things that she's subjected me to on this show that I would never know about beforehand.
I think it's the same story as it was with Miley Cyrus, as it was with Katy Perry, and maybe even Madonna, you could say. These aging, less relevant pop stars who are trying to reinvigorate their careers and drum up support by talking about gender and sexuality, and no one really is intrigued by that anymore. It's a tired topic. Even the people that they're trying to appeal to with this stuff are bored of it. I've looked at the Stan accounts. They think that this is a miss, and they're the people that you were supposedly trying to appeal to. Now, there are more transvestigating theories surrounding Lord
Jesus
based on
Christ.
her public statement that she feels like a man. And she revealed that she is prescribed to a drug called spironolactone.
Okay.
And this is not a drug that is used for gender-affirming care, to be clear. It is an anti-androgen, which blocks testosterone in the body. And sometimes women take this drug when they're either trying to combat acne or manage symptoms of PCOS. If you have PCOS, it means that the naturally occurring testosterone in your body is not getting converted into estrogen the way that it should, so you have to take this drug to combat the symptoms of PCOS.
Okay.
Which includes acne and weight gain and unusual hair growth and stuff like that. But I don't know why she told her followers that she's taking this drug, because now they have taken that and ran with it and believe that she is possibly going to come out as transgender as a companion piece to her album. It's
How do you come out as transgender? Don't you come out as the opposite gender? Like if you're a woman, you come out and say, I'm a man.
There's a new slang term that I wasn't aware of until recently in the trans community. It's called egg. If you call someone an egg, it means they're someone who is trans underneath it all, but they just haven't realized it about themselves yet. And they believe that Lord is an egg.
Predictive
She's not
programming.
exactly doing anything to combat that sentiment by saying that she's exploring her gender. But yeah, I think that these people are just going to get eclipsed very quickly
What is
by a new generation of pop stars.
How does a woman explore her gender? Like, how does a woman, like, as a woman?
No
I
one
wonder,
does that.
I wonder what a woman. What does she think? What does she do to explore being a man? Like, do you like show up on time? Do you like follow through with the stuff that you say you're gonna do? Like,
Yeah.
you shave the
you do
the
something
baby,
and nobody.
the baby hairs on your face.
She's actually mastered it because she's made a bunch of albums that nobody cares about, and nobody ever cares when men do anything. So she's actually getting a first-hand look at what it's like to be a guy by doing something and then getting no one to care.
That's a great point. None of these people, no women that are like, oh, I'm actually a trans man. None of them actually want to know what it's like to be a man, because to know what it's like to be a man is actually to be totally invisible. That's it. That's what it's like to be a man. No one pays attention to you and no one cares. And I am totally not that dude normally because of like my career and because of the stuff here. I get 10 million times the attention of a normal man, right? Normal guys get treated like absolute garbage, and they are completely invisible. It is not anything that any woman ever wants, and there are a bunch of trans women crying into their cell phone saying it's so lonely to be a man because they actually pass. This is so ridiculous.
Pass is a debatable term, but yeah, I see what you're saying, and I agree. But what they're going for is not to really experience being the opposite sex. They're looking to be seen and validated and heard,
which is the most feminine woman thing you can do.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that these pop stars are clearly floundering as they're aging out of relevance and getting replaced by people like Sabrina Carpenter, and they're just not really sure what to do to kickstart their career back into motion. And
even Chapel Roan.
Yeah, Chapel Roan is another example.
Yeah.
She's just actually gay.
Yep.
Doesn't actually pretend to
That's
be
the foot
for
chick,
clout.
right?
Chapel Roan, yeah, that's the one you said looked like a foot.
With that being said, let's do some super chats.
Shane H. Wilder said, today is the feast of the apparition of St. Michael, and Pope Leo XIII gave us St. Michael's prayer. I will return to my usual stupid/tarded comments. That's interesting, though. I didn't know that.
We do have a couple of Rumble rants here. This one from Omni Stone Herald says, I'm not sure I'll find something to disagree with later, like being a Chicago native. Gross. Says, I'm sure I'll find something to disagree with later. I don't know what he means. Like, who's
About
it like?
the
Because
Pope?
about the
I
Pope?
think he's talking about the Pope.
About the Pope being
Well, you
from
can't
Chicago?
hold it against him that he's from Chicago.
Yeah,
Why not?
There's nothing wrong
It's
with
not an
being
affliction.
from
He
Chicago.
was born that way. And from Deep South EDC, when I lived in New Orleans, I managed a dog daycare boarding grooming business. John Goodman was a client of mine for years. It was crazy seeing him drop weight so suddenly. Ozempic. Should have asked.
Ooh. Well, we'll get to that later in the show.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, here's the thing. John Goodman is an example of somebody who I think actually shouldn't have, kind of like Vincent D'Onofrio. Like, part of the charm of John Goodman as an actor was his size. It helped him. Now, obviously for health reasons, it's beneficial to lose the weight, but as an actor, some people, they work better when they're bigger.
Jordan Lemaire said, I found your channel a few months ago through Timcast and started through your back catalog. I got far enough back to learn what the previous Crisis Party song was. Had to do it.
Oh,
we've had many,
There
so
have
I don't
been-
even know which Crisis Party song you're talking about.
I have a folder of about 30 different Crisis Party. We used to change it. There was a time when I was changing it weekly. That became onerous. and then it became every couple of months, and then we found one we really liked, and Mary didn't want random explosions and wanton violence. She wanted an actual song.
So you
I
can
wanted
dance.
explosions and violence.
I want
and
something I can dance to, personally.
Look, I am torn here because I completely understand why you want explosions and violence, but it is a crisis party, so I understand why you'd want to dance. So
It's a party.
I understand
Yeah.
both of your positions.
All right, let's move on.
All right. A new art installation has just been erected in the middle of Times Square, New York.
This
It
should have
is
been cringe.
not Cringe of the Day, surprisingly. It is a series called Grounded in the Stars. The latest installation is a 12-foot tall bronze statue of a plus-size black woman with dreadlocks. That's what it is. It's just standing defiantly in the middle of passersby with all the billboards in the background, and the artist behind it is named Thomas J. Price, and here in this video we can hear a little blurb from him about what it all means, because, you know, obviously postmodern art, it's very deep and meaningful.
And communicate those inner worlds that we have, and sometimes we misinterpret with one another, to try and create an understanding and basically encourage empathy.
I have a problem that you'll understand. We all need somebody to lead. Clap your hands, like, sing along.
And
So he was talking about how he wants this sculpture to inspire empathy in people that view it.
Sorry, it didn't work.
I looked into the blurb on the Times Square official website about this bronze statue, and it was just an assault of word salad that I cannot wait to share with you all.
I mean, that's usually what it is when it's artists describing their art.
Or really anyone, even the critics describing the art,
Yes.
are just coming up with random word salad to try to make it sound deep when it's not, and this is not real art. This is trash. So they say Thomas J. Price, whose multidisciplinary practice confronts preconceived notions of identity and representation, with Grounded in the Stars, he reimagines both the monument and monumentality in Times Square,
What does
one of the
monumentality
world's
mean?
most iconic public spaces.
It's like that Damon Wayans bit where he just makes up words.
Okay.
So this also aims to foreground the intrinsic value of the individual and amplifies traditionally marginalized bodies
Oh,
on
God.
a monumental scale.
Remember, it's a terrible idea to center the marginalized.
Here is a quote from the artist. Times Square stands as an iconic symbol and site of convergence, uniting people from all walks of life, individual stories and experiences intersecting on a global platform. The intention of my works is to become part of the place they inhabit and its physical material history, as well as the visitors that pass through and around the location, no matter how fleeting. I hope Grounded in the Stars will instigate meaningful connections and bind intimate emotional states that allow for deeper reflection around the human condition and greater cultural diversity. The young woman depicted in Grounded in the Stars carries familiar qualities, from her stance and countenance to her everyday clothing. In her depiction, one recognizes a shared humanity, yet the contrapposto pose of her body and the ease of her stance is a subtle nod to Michelangelo's David.
Oh, God.
Through scale, materiality, and posture, Grounded in the Stars Grounded in the Stars disrupts traditional ideas around what defines a triumphant figure and challenges who should be rendered immortal through monumentalization. Installed at ground level, the work invites engagement from hundreds of thousands of people who traverse the plaza each day, and the woman cuts a stark contrast to the pedestaled permanent monuments, both white men, which bookend Duffy Square, while embodying quiet gravity and grandeur. And I looked into who those two white men are that remain unnamed in the description. The first is a bronze statue of Chaplain Francis Duffy, who served as a military chaplain and priest in the Fighting 69th New York Infantry Regiment. So that seems like an impressive person that ought to have a monument.
Statue-worthy?
Yeah, statue-worthy. And the additional white man who is monumentalized here in Duffy Square features a composer, playwright, and actor, George Cohan, which was dedicated in 1959. So those are two actual historical figures who are notable for their own accomplishments. Meanwhile, the grounded in the stars anonymous black woman is not a real person at all and merely represents defiance. Whatever it is, what it all means is that this is the woke deity. Like, this is who we're meant to worship. A plus-sized, marginalized black woman with an angry look on her face, and she's sneering at you as you pass by, and you're supposed to revere her.
But only the most ideologically poisoned person would see something like that as statue-worthy. Otherwise, the entire point of making a monument is that it's acknowledging a specific person with specific accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
And usually when doing so, the idea would be to show them in their most amazing of form, rather than kind of, I guess they're trying to celebrate the normalcy of what this person is supposed to look like, meaning...
Why should we celebrate the normal, you know?
Not just the normal.
The mediocre.
The mundane.
Yeah,
the mediocre. The reason is because the left hates success. They hate things that they hate people that achieve. They hate things that stand out in a positive way. They hate like people that win. They want no one to win. They want everyone to have the same, everyone to be the same. There is no good and no bad. There is all this same like mediocrity, and it's just they celebrate garbage. The idea of deconstructing deconstructing what it means to be successful or means to be monument worthy.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point of deconstruction is because they can't create anything great. It is absolutely atrocious, and it should be torn down. And the only solace that I find is the fact that there are going to be pigeons pooping on this thing all the time.
I think it's only up for 24 hours.
No, it's up until somewhere in the middle of June. So
it's going to be
temporary.
just like the little girl standing in front of the bull on Wall Street, which is equally as ridiculous. The bull symbolizes something. The little girl doesn't. It just symbolizes no. No. Little temper. No. No, you can't. It's absolutely atrocious, and the fact that people allow this garbage and support it is ridiculous.
So the little girl statue was added after the bull statue?
Oh, the bull. Yeah, the bull in on Wall Street was there for, I'm not sure when the bull was put up. It was there for a long time.
What's the symbolism behind the bull?
The bull is supposed to be about, because bull markets are markets that are...
Oh, duh.
Yeah, when you have a bull market,
Right.
that means values going up, prices are going up, people are buying things. It's positive economic activity is what the bull symbolizes. And then the little
I
girl
see.
stands in front of the bull. Why do you want to not have positive economic activity?
Because they probably say that there's something misogynistic about positive economic activity.
Good.
Okay, so she's still up in Manhattan. She's called the Fearless Girl statue, placed in front of the Charging Bull sculpture in March 2017 in anticipation of International Women's Day. The statue was positioned to promote gender diversity initiatives and highlight the lack of women in senior leadership roles on corporate boards. However, due to complaints from the Charging Bull sculptor, the statue was relocated to its current position across from the New York Stock Exchange.
Ironic, too, because that type of art means that it loses all its meaning when it's not put next to another piece of more important art or more powerful art.
The Fearless Girl statue was glorified graffiti on the Charging Bull statue.
Yep.
So to place it somewhere completely out of context just defeats the purpose. But I didn't even realize.
That's a great way to describe it, glorified graffiti.
Yeah, it might as well have just been someone spray painting on the Charging Bull.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it so not just ridiculous, but actually offensive, because I understand that people don't want to see excesses in markets and there can be bad consequences, but like the economic activity that the bull symbolizes is why there are no really poor people in America, right? Even now where times are tough and people are having a hard time finding jobs and stuff like that, nobody in America is poor like in Africa, right? Or like nobody in America is poor like in I mean, we're such a wealthy country. People can decide to be homeless and still find can get enough food and get the things they need to survive. And they can make the decision to be homeless.
Yeah.
You have to be in a massively wealthy society to make the decision, I want to be homeless, and be able to do that. Like, if you were homeless, like, in Africa, people die because they can't get enough to eat. And because the economies of these countries are so destitute and so bad. And there's a lot of reasons for that. But the idea that you should look at positive economic activity as something that needs to be halted because of feminism. The reason that feminism exists is because we have an economy that is so productive that women can do things like sit around and think about being a woman, as opposed to being in the field with her husband, subsistence farming. It is so incredibly stupid and such a disgusting display of modernism, and it just drives me nuts.
Well,
Hate it.
I mean, I guess the little girl statue wasn't placed to protest the economy or like Wall Street as the way it functions. It was a protest against the overrepresentation of white men on corporate boards
in 2017.
So it was more like a DEI initiative than anything, than an economic statement. But that it's extremely outdated now that DEI is getting rolled back.
I mean, if we're being honest here, earlier I was looking at this entertainment CEO chart of salaries, and it's still there.
What do you mean it's still there?
It's mostly white dudes.
Yeah, well.
There's a couple women on this list. I see
Kathleen Kennedy.
Jennifer Witz.
She shows that it's a really good idea, too.
Yeah.
Jennifer Witz is on this list as the CEO of Sirius XM, and Kristen Dolan as the CEO of AMC Networks.
All right. Well, those are a couple of girl bosses we can celebrate today. It's just kind of insulting to everyone involved. It's insulting to everyone who has to look at this ugly. It's objectively ugly and a sorry excuse for art. And, you know, if they really intended to celebrate less represented groups, they should have chosen to make a monument of a real person who actually is a public figure, who is female, or a public figure who is black,
I was like, why?
Who has accomplishments that are worth celebrating. But instead, they came up with a fictional person who is defiantly standing there on one foot, angrily looking at everyone passing by simply for existing.
Mad that her Starbucks isn't ready yet.
She's mad that her Frappuccino is late. I don't know.
Times Square, they could have put any number of people. They could have put Michelle Obama if they wanted to.
That would have been stupid too.
Shonda Rhimes. There's a bunch of people that they could put on it, but
or someone who's relevant to New York City in their history and business there. But they decided not to do that because it was more a statement against the white men who were monumentalized instead of a celebration of an actual person.
Well, then it should have been Jasmine Crockett.
Great
Jasmine
idea.
Ratchet.
All right, let's do some super chats.
Olvin McGoth said, I think a bucket of pierogies should be Pope.
No.
Brett hates that idea.
One day I'm going to actually eat one, and it's going to be the greatest thing I've ever eaten. I'm never eat anyone
promise
again.
you that when you try pierogies, you will like them. Terrence Rice said, went on a date night with wifey to see the Batman, fell asleep somewhere in the middle, and woke up abruptly during one of the later action scenes, mid. It was incredibly mid. It was worse than mid.
Yeah.
Do you guys think there's... So, like, I was a really big fan of the previous Not the... not that I don't know. I actually know. I like Bat Affleck. I like the what's his name, Batman.
Nolan.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan, Batman, the best.
The Christian Bale.
Yeah, that was the definitive Batman in my opinion. But I did like the Zack Snyder stuff. But after those two Batman like movies, I can't imagine getting much better.
That depends. It's going to take a filmmaker the level of a Christopher Nolan to give you a movie that good. And for all intents and purposes, Matt Reeves is considered an excellent filmmaker, so it does suck that it didn't necessarily turn out that way. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to get away from the character for a while, given the fact that they're so reliant on him to make them money. And to be fair, James Gunn doesn't seem to be leaning too heavily into going that direction because he tends to like to work with less known characters anyways, which is why I thought it was weird that he was taking on Superman to begin with. But, you know, in 5 years, there could be some filmmaker who's making really, really good movies that could be the person to kind of take a handle on that character and bring him back to the screen. But then you'll have to find another actor because it's not going to be Robert Pattinson. He's too connected to the Matt Reeves one, so you'd have to go another direction. I don't know who that would be. Actor-wise, I know that Alan Ritchson has indicated interest in playing
He's going
to
make it so annoying, though.
He would.
He's
like,
such a
that's
problem.
why Batman doesn't like Donald Trump.
Yeah, like he's going to make it a whole thing. So, no. You know, I think that the Batman should have actually been a video game because there were scenes where obviously the Riddler is the antagonist. He's like trying to solve the riddles, and it just feels like it would work way better as a video game and not something that I have to sit down and passively watch.
The movie that that Ben Affleck was going to do, the solo Batman movie, was at one point going to be
I want to see it.
an Escape from Arkham, where he has to escape from a multi-level Arkham asylum, and all the villains that he put in Arkham are trying to take him out as he works his way out of the facility.
That could be
Not
great.
bad.
And that would be
Yeah.
a great movie. Go and listen to some of the Nerdstalgic did a couple, and a couple of other channels did really good retrospectives of what the Ben Affleck solo Batman movie would have been. And he would have made a great crime thriller Batman, given that seems to be Ben Affleck's bread and butter when it comes to writing and directing, were films of that nature, whether it's The Town or The Accountant, Live by Night, movies like that. He could have done a great job with it, but his demons were kind of all over the place for him at that time, and he was drinking heavily, and eventually it fell apart. And he has since said that he would never want to go back to that well. So,
Yeah. Weary Traveler said, Brett, Mary, Philip. I don't know what any of that means.
well,
but,
thank you.
I mean, hello.
I also find Batman interesting as a character because I feel like with a character like James Bond, your definitive James Bond is whichever James Bond you grew up with. That becomes the core version of the character for you, and I don't feel like Batman
Who was
that
the
way.
the most recent was the
Daniel Craig.
Yeah.
Isabella Live 2.0 said, playing in chat. I don't know what that means either.
Let's do
Zachary
one
Schmidt.
more.
Phil just wanted to say, I'm a big fan of your cover of Garth Brooks' The Thunder Rolls.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm actually working on another one right now. Not the Garth Brooks cover, but a country song that I got in the cooking in the oven, I guess. Maybe a couple months, but
We have a Rumble rant from Omni Stone Herald. Says Planned Parenthood built a monument to their #1 customers and single moms.
What does that mean?
I'm assuming he's referring to the statue.
What? Oh, the Times Square statue. I thought you were talking about something else.
No.
Nope.
Yikes, man.
Yep. All right. Let's hold off on the rest, and we will come back. Let's move on.
Yeah. After decades of business, Weight Watchers has officially filed for bankruptcy, and it's pretty obvious why. It's estimated that as of 2024, up to 1 in 8 Americans is currently taking a GLP-1 drug similar to Ozempic or
Good
Wegovy
Lord.
or any of the other off-label brands. And they, don't want to lose weight the old-fashioned way. And I can guarantee you the number of people in the Hollywood celebrity world taking Ozempic or similar drugs is even higher than 1 in 8, higher than the general population. And now it's gotten to the point that experts are warning of a new horrifying symptom of this drug. It's a side effect called Ozempic MOUTH. And you might be familiar with Ozempic face. They have the sunken in cheekbones, the sunken in eyes. They just start to look like they're dying. But Ozempic MOUTH is a new symptom that people are noticing and also taking measures to prevent and combat with cosmetic procedures. It's seen on these celebrities: Sharon Osbourne, Whoopi Goldberg, Rebel Wilson, all three of whom have openly talked about the fact that they are on Ozempic. I think with the exception of Sharon Osbourne, who has stopped taking it and still can't gain the weight back that she lost, and it's causing her terrible health problems. She says it ruined her life. But Daily Mail interviewed a New York cosmetic dermatologist about the phenomenon
Sharon Osbourne
of
looks terrible.
Ozempic MOUTH. Yeah, they all look pretty bad, unrecognizable from their former selves.
So you know who she really looks like? She looks like Hoggle from Labyrinth.
Can you look that up, Brett, and show us the comparison? Here's what the expert said. Many users of Ozempic who I know report noticeable volume loss in the face, which can result in the formation of fine lines, wrinkles, sagging skin, and jowls around the mouth. This volume loss can also worsen the appearance of existing lines, wrinkles, and skin laxity, contributing to a more aged smile and overall look. This is characterized by deep folds at the corners of the mouth, increased vertical wrinkles on the lips, sagging skin around the borders of the lips, and drooping skin around the chin area. So, I mean, I think that this is maybe not mentioned, but it's also the fact that a lot of these celebrities have lip injections too.
Yeah.
And that's alternate universe Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
you'll see it.
they have lip injections. They start rapidly losing weight from Ozempic or similar weight loss injections. And what's left in their face is 0 fat and only filler. And this is what has them looking like freakazoids. There are, I mean, it's true. And there aren't many examples of this in male celebrities because I think it's down to the fillers that they're using.
You need to bring back freakazoid as a regular insult to a person.
I am.
Let's go.
Personally, I'm bringing it back.
That's what I'm saying.
Due to growing concern about Ozempic MOUTH, Dr. Green reveals that she has had an increasing number of patients asking about getting dermal fillers around the mouth area to restore the volume that they have lost because Ozempic depletes subcutaneous fat, which is visible layered just under the skin. By depleting subcutaneous fat, the skin appears thinner with more wrinkling and lipstick lines. So even if you're not a chain smoker, taking Ozempic and rapidly losing weight is going to cause those characteristic wrinkles around in a circle around your mouth as if you're a chain smoker.
I miss smoking.
I don't mean to remind you of cigarettes again, Phil. Sorry.
We were watching, me and Sarah were watching Breaking Bad, and every what's her name, Skylar in that show smokes all the time, and every
Oh,
time
yeah.
she's like, oh God,
That's her one vice. Yeah.
But anyways,
Just as the amount of people taking Ozempic has multiplied in recent years, there's also been concurrently a massive increase in American women reporting that they have face fillers. I believe that it's increased by over 3 times just since 2010. The amount of women who have gotten face fillers.
Has it just gone down in price on top of the vanity of the average everyday American person? Like, has the price just become so cost effective that they can afford to do it?
I think that this is a guess, but I think that because obesity is looked at as a medical condition now, you can get those kind of things on a lot of health insurance plans.
You cannot get lip filler.
Oh no! I thought
No,
you were
I was talking
I
about lip filler.
I
not
thought.
the-
Oh my
not
bad.
the
I'm
Ozempic.
sorry. I thought
At
you
least
were
I
talking about
hope
Ozempic.
that we haven't reached that level of insanity.
I imagine that lip filler and stuff like that is like the cost has probably come down because we were talking about before the show. We were talking about healthcare and stuff like that, and cosmetic procedures have gone down significantly, and the quality has actually gone up, in the past 20, 30 years because there's a market, and if this guy won't do it for that much, that guy over there might do it for cheaper, and blah blah blah. So
Well, doctors are certainly benefiting from how much popularity Ozempic has gained in recent years because they get kickbacks, and they probably are recommending it left and right to people who are overweight or obese, and they're in a symbiotic relationship with the cosmetics industry, who has the perfect solution for all the side effects that the doctors didn't warn you about.
They're like, oh, your face is starting to droop on one side, like Justin Bieber. Here, allow us. We'll help you.
Yeah, this says fixing Ozempic mouth can be expensive, with filler costing between $700 and $2,000 per syringe.
Wait, so then how long does it last?
Filler?
Do you have to get it?
Problem is, it lasts forever, but it doesn't stay in the place you put it.
But so you have to do
end
some
up
type of
looking like
upkeep? You have to
a
do some
human
kind of
pillow.
upkeep?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Upkeep. Okay,
Not
so
upkeep, because it never goes away. It stays in your face forever. That's another thing they don't tell you. But it just moves from the place you originally put it to elsewhere.
Where you want it to where you don't.
Yeah, from where you want it to where you don't want it. And you have to get more of it to fill the place that it used to be.
Do they cut the old stuff out?
they dissolve. You can dissolve filler though, right?
You can get it dissolved, but even that
Just
doesn't
sounds dangerous.
Even that doesn't completely get rid of it from your face forever. It is kind of just staying in your system permanently at that point, especially if you've been getting filler for years, which it seems to be more of seen as a routine medical procedure at this point instead of cosmetic. They're also recommending people go through a radio frequency treatment that uses heat to tighten their skin and improve its appearance if they want to go with a method other than filler, which is also prohibitively expensive at $1,500 to $3,500 for a 30-minute treatment. And it's just really down to a question of how much you're willing to give up to be skinny.
Yeah. And
they're willing to do all this and spend all that money, but they're not willing to put the fork down.
Yeah, I know of this great new drug that kind of works like Ozempic. It's called a calorie deficit.
Well, you know who's suffering the most is Weight Watchers. He's going out of business.
Well, they say that it's not over for them. They're trying to frame it in a flattering light, that this will bolster their financial position.
$1.5 million in debt.
$1.5 million in debt?
Billion, sorry.
Okay.
Billion with a B.
I was going to say. Well, 75% of the United States is overweight or obese. 75%, that's 3 out of 4 people. And Weight Watchers is going out of business. You would think that they would have plenty of customers, but the problem is nobody wants to do anything to actually lose weight.
People will do anything to avoid any level of discomfort in their day-to-day lives. That's the problem. And they've not only lost a huge amount of their customers to Ozempic, they've also lost a huge ambassador for the brand, Oprah, to Ozempic as well.
Yep, they did.
Ooh.
She's like, psych, I'm just going to do this instead.
After decades of telling people that the way to lose weight is to manage your portion sizes and move more, she said, oh, I magically came to the realization that actually I was born to be fat, so I need this drug. And I had the wrong idea about weight loss all along. And that's all Weight Watchers was. It was a glorified calorie counting track that was curated for you.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It's crazy that you can even build a business out of something so simple and accessible to people, but if they really needed the help to just do basic math, that's what Weight Watchers was doing for people.
The hard part isn't counting the calories. The hard part is not actually eating the calories.
Yeah.
If I'm being
The hard
honest,
part's putting the fork down.
more disturbing than Ozempic face was the Ozempic feet that was hyperlinked in the bottom there.
Okay,
Yep.
well now I'm terrified.
That to me is way worse.
They've also noticed sagging in the feet. That's known as Ozempic feet. There's also Ozempic butt, which is getting a deflated butt after rapid weight loss from Ozempic.
Just when we were starting to get like off the gigantic butt train, where like people were like, okay, maybe a gigantic fat flabby butt isn't the thing, maybe a firm butt is the thing. Now you're gonna have people being like, oh no, if it looks like Ozempic butt, I need to get a big old flabby butt again.
I need to get a BBL because I have an Ozempic butt.
See, like you said, the medical industrial complex has a solution for every problem.
And you're just on a never-ending conveyor belt of solutions that they can sell you for the rest of your life.
That's so depressing.
That's the way that they've structured it, evidently. And you know,
what we need is like Mary chart, where you rigidly yell at people for not following their calorie deficit, for not staying in a calorie deficit. Create an app where you just yell obscene things at people when they go over their calorie intake.
Yeah, creepy dudes will buy it, don't.
You're true.
Do it anyways.
I never understood why rich people were fat, ever. Because you have enough money where you just don't have an excuse. You have all the time and resources in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a personal nutritionist in your house.
Yeah.
Personal chef, personal trainer.
If
you
you're-
can even hire someone to force you to stop eating if you wanted someone to follow you around all day and stop you from overeating. But
If
they
you're-
don't do it.
If you're making if you're making 10 million a year and you got money saved up, there's no reason, because you can definitely put a chef, a cook on staff to make all of your meals. They'll, be there before you get up, make that breakfast, and they'll have it for you. There's no reason for you to be
Who
fat.
was it? Was it Shane Dawson that had the weight loss journey video?
I don't know. What?
Maybe I'm.
Are you talking about a YouTuber?
Yeah, YouTuber. There was a really funny one where it's just like it just can't give up on the Coke and the McDonald's, even though doing all the exercise and doing all the right things other than that.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah,
okay.
Coca-Cola, not the other
I was
Coke.
gonna say, 'cause from what I hear, Coca.
I don't know if that was Shane Dawson. I'm not sure, but it's not like it's surprising that this would happen. Like these are just the normal side effects of rapidly losing weight anyway.
Yeah.
And you're going to have like skin sagging and all that stuff. That's why people who lose immense amount of weight, they have to get surgery to remove extra skin after the fact. Like this is a well-known phenomenon that no one should be surprised by.
I did see I think it was a video or something talking about a guy that ate garbage, like eating McDonald's, but
A freegan.
what?
Oh, you're talking about actual like garbage food. People who eat out of dumpsters.
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
I'm talking about actual bad for you food like McDonald's, but they stayed in a caloric deficit and they still lost weight. You're eating bad for your food, like,
Sorry.
and you'll still lose weight even eating bad for you food if you're in a caloric deficit. It's not good for you. You're not getting.
That's
You probably
what I
aren't
do.
getting the nutrients. We know.
That's what I do. I feel fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
You're 24. Of course you feel fine.
Maybe it'll catch up to me eventually.
Maybe.
But
Oh, I'm sure it will.
I'm going with what works for me.
Yeah. Well. No, it worked for me. Marlboros and Red Bull, but the anxiety of possible cancer kind of got to me.
For the celebrities that want to stay on Ozempic and maintain the results they've gotten from it, what's suggested is that they instead microdose Ozempic instead of
I
taking the
forgot
normal
about that.
dosages.
It was David Dobrik. Weight
Oh,
loss.
I see.
Yeah.
Some people have speculated that a lot of celebrities on Ozempic at the Met Gala are the ones who are probably only microdosing the drug so that you can keep the results for longer and not maintain it or not develop a tolerance to it.
I mean that's
and it's
still
not if you lose
still
the
catches
weight
up
slower,
with you eventually.
True, but if you lose the weight on a slower timeline, you're not going to look as shockingly different from before and after, and you're not going to end up with these weird symptoms like Ozempic feet and Ozempic mouth and Ozempic eyes and you name it. That's probably the more sustainable solution if you must.
Doc, how can you help me lose the weight but not have Ozempic face and Ozempic feet? He's like, I don't know, eat less.
I'm honestly surprised that it's only 1 in 8 Americans as of last year taking it. I would have thought it was even higher.
No, that sounds right to me. I mean, is it prevalent as it may be now? It's still one of those things where it's because we talk about it on
If
the
it were a pill, it'd be like everybody. If it weren't a syringe that you had to like go in and get someone to give you the shot, and if it weren't
Why do you
a whole
have to get
like,
someone to give it to you?
you have to go in.
I think you get the needle. I think you can take it at home. Like you.
Oh, okay.
Remember, because we saw the video of like one of the like Rob Kardashian.
I think you have the option if you
Rob
want.
Kardashian had the syringes in the freezer, in the fridge.
You
at home.
have the option to go in, have it done for you if you're scared to give yourself the injection. But yeah, if it weren't an injection and it were a pill or something, I bet it would be like half of America on this stuff.
Yep.
And maybe that's coming soon. Who knows?
Wouldn't be surprised.
Let's finish up our
All right, let's do that, and then we're hanging out.
The Manic Mustache said, late as usual, but apropos to Sigma male energy, Mustache got hit on one time when we were in college. Older woman who we later found out was not divorced. It's always a trap. Stay toxic, my friends. You were hit on by an older woman who lied about being divorced. Yikes. Yeah, don't get involved with that. Gordon Shumway said, Phil, don't forget that the first Avatar was also a rehash of Dances with Wolves and Fern Gully.
Yes.
I got 20 minutes into the movie and I already knew what was going to happen, so I turned it off.
There was nothing creative about that movie, and the fact that it was the highest grossing movie of all time for any amount of time was an atrocity.
Well, everyone, it's so funny. When Avatar 2 Way of Water came out and we did our review of it, I hated it, and I was talking about the messaging that is in it that I found subversive and sinister, and everyone was pushing back on me saying, no, the Avatar actually promotes family values. No. It's
the chat was pushing back on you, or?
Like, we got a lot of comments on our review at the time.
Crazy.
And what I was pointing out is it's a commentary about climate change. It's a commentary about colonization, and it's a fundamentally anti-human story because they're valorizing the Na'vi and making human beings out to be villains. It's very clear-cut to me. Pop Culture Junkie said, ugh, has our Hollywood slop tolerance been lowered? Yeah. I mean, if people can watch The Batman and think that that was a good movie, that only says that our standards are way too low. Like, our standards are in hell.
I love Hollywood slop.
The bar is in hell if you can think that The Batman was good. Weary Traveler said, late game humiliation ritual for Robert De Niro.
I mean, at that point, he's like, what, 8 zillion years old?
He's going along with it, to be fair.
I don't think that's
to.
To everyone in his world that he will interact with on a daily basis, it's not a humiliation ritual for him.
If you're Robert De Niro, you don't have to say anything.
I actually take issue a lot of times with what people refer to as humiliation rituals in Hollywood, because I'm like, look, they love it, okay? It's not humiliating to them. They buy into this crap 100%.
Most of the time,
It's not humiliating to them.
Mm-hmm. And then they tried to do it to Gina Carano, and it didn't work. Shane H. Wilder said, did Michelle Obama say it warms her heart as a black man? LMFAO, I always had suspicions. Yeah, I think she was referring to Marlon Wayans in that clip, not herself, but it was a bit of a Freudian slip.
It got community noted and said to please watch the whole thing if you're looking for the full context.
Thank you.
The big mic explainers were very excited about that.
Phil loves it. He loves it, I promise.
Pop Culture Junkie said Superman marketing pushing gun partially due to results of 15,000 sample 18 to 54 research fielded by Warner DC in early 2024 also tested 15 trailers.
I mean, yeah, marketing pushed by DC that he's the head of.
Yeah, he wanted to create results that say everyone loves James Gunn.
Look, I get it. He was the creative vision behind Guardians of the Galaxy, and Guardians of the Galaxy was very popular. That's fine, but Superman, is he going to make Superman 2 Electric Boogaloo? I don't know. Or is a different director going to come in? You have to allow that lead actor, David Cornsweet, to stand out on his own and prove himself to be Superman. Otherwise, people are just going to continue to compare him to Henry Cavill.
I want to see James Gunn's house tour, where it has all the posters with movies he's made.
No, it's just pictures of him.
And just pictures of him.
It's selfies he's taken of himself.
AI Shih Tzu said, I vote Phil for next Batman. Voice already gravelly.
Oh,
Could you do it?
I mean, I'm a little on the short side, but
Angles.
If Tom Cruise could do it, if they just film upward.
But yeah, I mean, look, if they're gonna pay me a boatload of money to try and be Batman, I'd do it.
Voice acting? Have you ever thought about doing voice acting?
I've thought about it. I'm not
I
really
bet you
sure.
could do it.
I'm not really sure how you get into it though.
I don't know either, but you have good impressions of people. And
Do I really?
You already have a good voice to begin with. I bet you could do it.
Thank you.
In the chat,
we have a 20 before we get to that. Jose Quintana. Oh, great Ghost Empress. The Batman was a great movie. You're wrong. Avatar was just nice for SFX. What did you think of Aliens? I'm disappointed that you tore down Robert Pattinson's work. Short-lived PCC. Taking my meds now. Yeah, you do that. Well, The Batman was just objectively one of the most boring movies I've ever watched. And
have you watched any of the
Aliens? No.
Oh.
No, I can't speak to that.
You're not really a horror person, and the original was more classified horror than action.
I mean, I guess it depends on the type of horror we're talking about.
And she wasn't tearing it down. She was criticizing it. It's not tearing it down. It's different.
Whatever. Call it what you want.
In the chat, Kristen says, "Oh, I didn't see Phil's Left Lane shirt until a minute ago."
The left lane is for crime.
Yep, it is.
It's not. It's only visible on that shot.
That was a gift from my friend Brett Dasovich.
Yeah, well,
he's not here right now.
I don't know who that is.
AI Shih Tzu said, I would never tell Brett to watch Star Trek DS9, but if he developed an autistic knowledge of it, he can put Tim on a back foot when the topic of TNG is raised.
I'll never care about Star Trek.
Deep Space Nine was fun.
Steve DeMaria said, curious about your opinions on Kanye's new song, especially you, Phil.
Thoughts?
What do you think, Phil?
I think it's hilarious.
We're not going to say the name of the song.
The melody does get stuck in your head.
Yeah.
There is a $5 Rumble rant from High Voltage 37. Says, staying skinny the merry way. No exercise. Just starve yourself while suppressing appetite with nicotine.
6 kind bars. That's it.
I mean, it's worked for me so far. Yeah. I recommend.
I'm telling you, my favorite way to stay thin was definitely a pack of Marlboros a day and 10
I do
or
recommend
12
exercise for your health, for your mental health. Exercise is good for you.
Look, I'm never gonna say exercise is bad for you or something. I just don't do it. That's just me. Shane H. Wilder said, calling the album Virgin with a pic of an IUD. This does not compute. Virgins don't normally have IUDs. Modernity is so tiresome. Yeah, I don't know if that was supposed to communicate anything really other than just her being self-absorbed. Jubs McGee said, don't forget Lord was always a man. Her real name is Randy Marsh. I am Lord. Yeah. Is that a reference?
That's a South Park reference.
I didn't.
I am
Oh,
Lord.
wait, I think she was on that episode, right?
I don't know.
You would know.
I don't know.
Okay.
I know the reference, but I don't know if she
Rapscallion.
herself was on that episode.
Rapscallion said, Lord coming out as Stan Marsh wasn't on my bingo card. Gordon Shumway said, when a woman starts taking accountability, she is not serious about exploring what it feels like to be a man. Everything else they say they do is just lip service. LMFAO.
I mean, it's the Bill Burr bit from years ago where he says women treat manhood as like an a la carte menu. It's like I'll have the equal pay, I'll have some of that responsibility. Ew, none of that. Leave that alone.
100%.
Well, what would you say you guys want or jealous of in the experience of a woman?
Jealous of it in the experience of a woman?
Yeah, like what would you like to have from that if it were an a la carte menu?
Absolutely nothing.
None of it?
No.
It wouldn't make any sense, and it would be kind of antithetical to your experience as a dude. So, like, there's things that I could acknowledge would be nice if they weren't socially engineered or I guess evolutionarily engineered into you to not work that way. Did you ever see the thing that was on X like a couple months ago, where it was like even in a relationship where you're both working and maybe you make equal pay, the unspoken agreement will always be that the guy is the one who should be providing, because there will always be the possibility of that she may get pregnant or she may get hurt or something might happen, and that weight will always befall the guy if he's actually a man and actually takes his responsibility seriously. Like, even if you're making equal money, you have to understand that if things go wrong, it's your responsibility to fix them, even if right now that's not what it looks like.
That's part of why like feminism is a clown show.
Yeah.
You know, because at the end of the day, the responsibilities, even if a woman's like, you know, making more money or whatever, it's still the man's job to take care of the woman. Like, you can be a feminist all day and think, oh, you know, I'm a boss bitch, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, nobody is going to look at you in a really, you know, condescending way or a bad way if you cry over stress. But if a man cries because of stress, everyone's going to be like, he a bitch. That's all there is to it. Like, that's just the way that it is. And it doesn't matter how much of a boss bitch you are, how strong, I don't need no man you are. You're allowed to express yourself and do things in ways that men are absolutely not. And people will lie to men. Men that are watching this, guys, don't listen to anyone that says, oh, no, it's okay for you to cry. It's not.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. Now, it's okay for you to go off on your own, like be alone. Don't be around people. Don't cry on your girlfriend's shoulders. Like, I had to put my dog down a couple weeks ago, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, go away. She couldn't be there because it was rough for me. But I wasn't going to let my girlfriend watch me cry over my dog. But I love my dog, and it happened, but I wasn't going to let her see it. Don't ever let a woman watch you cry. It's a trap.
Jeez.
So,
I mean, it's harsh, but true.
It's totally true. And the people that are like, no, blah, 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 blah.
I think if you genuinely have a reason
parents dying, that's fine.
Sense.
Parents dying, that's fine. If you lose kids, that's fine. Like you have a kid and your kid passes away, something like that, that's fine. There are, of course, exceptions. But don't ever let it be a common thing. And don't think, like, just remember that, like, if you never let them see you cry, then you never have to worry about it. Maybe they would. Maybe there's an exception. Maybe they'll be like, oh, you know, it's not a big deal. Maybe the woman won't get the ick, right? Great. But it's not worth the risk, considering if you do cry and she gets the ick, everything changes.
I just hate that we've come up with the whole ick term for it, you know?
I hate it too, but guess what? It's true. So
it's just become a thing that, you know, people took it and then they made it into something it wasn't.
I mean, I feel like the ick shouldn't even work theoretically as a term for that, because when you would always describe the ick to me, it was always like, it was like inexplicable and you have it was the way he did something. It's not about how he, it's in this case, you'd be like, oh, he ties his shoes weird. That gives me the ick. That's not the same thing as getting the ick because he cries. It would have to be, he cried weird. You see what I'm saying? Like, otherwise, it's not the ick. It's just some type of evolutionary response to watching a guy be vulnerable in a world where being vulnerable can put you at risk.
Right. Because women are biologically wired to seek security. And if they think that this man is not capable of providing them security, then everything comes tumbling down.
Mm-hmm.
James Codoridis said, just saw August Burns Red with Bullet in Boston. Not quite all that remains, but we'll take what we can get.
Sure, it was
Stay
a great
metal.
show.
That sounds fun. Gordon Shumway said, the little girl stands in front of the bull and says, I choose the bear, shaking my damn head. Arsenal Man said the girl statue represents women standing in the way of economic prosperity. Well, I guess that's the way it turned out, not the way it was intended.
Somebody should have made a statue of like a woman and a bear holding hands and put it in Times Square.
That street interview video where they were asking women about like man or the bear, I did not expect that to take hold the way it did. Like that really stuck with people to the point where they still talk about it.
Those are the kind of things where it's like, I asked a question on X last night. I said, what is something you have absolutely no opinion about? Those are exactly like stuff like that. And the 100 men versus the gorilla are what make me think of when I think of that. It's like
Tim is very pro 100 men. He doesn't think that he's like 100 men could take a gorilla easy.
I think what people in this space kind of fail to realize is like, if you spend all day on X and you just sit there and you give detailed thoughts and analysis about random ideas or goings on in the world, I think they actually misunderstand just how much of the population ostensibly lives in a form of autopilot because their life is busy and they're going out and doing something every day. And I spiritually wish that was me in a lot of ways, that my job didn't put me in a realm where the people that are successful in this space, they're like, oh, look, it's a random thing that I don't know anything about. I better do hours worth of research so that I can have an opinion about it. I feel like you'll live longer and you'll look younger if you don't concern yourself with endless opinions about endless things that have nothing to do with you.
Even if it's just for the sake of vanity, don't doom
Exactly.
scroll.
Like there is a world where somebody's like, so, bro, what do you think? 100 gorillas or one man? You're like, I don't care. You just walk away.
100 gorillas that they
100 men versus one gorilla, and you're just like, bro, I'm just gonna walk away. How about no opinion?
Pick your battles.
How about no opinion?
Shane H. Wilder said Michelangelo's David looked like an Adonis. This statue looks like a lard assist. I hope it doesn't fall on anyone. That would be a horrible way to go.
I mean, that would actually be really funny and ironic in a sad
that
way.
would actually be the ultimate fulfillment of the art piece, you know, to really show everyone what it means. James Coderidis said, did you see Ronnie Radke calling out the PDFs?
He kind of does it regularly.
It's all the time. He talks about mainly like the Warped Tour bands,
a lot of bands,
PDFs.
A lot of bands that behave very poorly and make bad decisions.
I just thought everybody knew that.
I kind of did too.
There is a $5 Rumble rant here from High Voltage 75. Says, Mary, in your dictatorship, what will be the punishment for eating plain snacks? Flogging, the gulag, or straight to the gallows? He wants to know.
You know what? I think if you go to the gallows and stay there for just a day, and people get to throw rotten tomatoes at you and
what about
holler
pretzels?
insults,
Broken pretzels at you.
Maybe throw pretzels at you that you can't eat. Then that would be an acceptable punishment. We don't need to send them to the gulag forever.
She is a benevolent.
They'll learn from the experience.
She is a benevolent dictator.
Or how about you just never get pretzels ever again in your life?
Even when you really want them at home.
Even when you really want them. Yeah. Maybe some kind of torture device where it's a pretzel just out of reach. You just can't eat it. Yeah. I'll workshop that one. Pop Culture Junkie said, I lived 10 minutes from that Times Square statue location. It's going to be a lightning rod and going to cost tax dollars to keep it cleaned up. Oh, an actual lightning rod. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully, it's not going to be there forever. It's only until the end of June.
Yeah, you think.
Arsenal Man said, does Mary play Vidya? Why do people call it Vidya?
I don't know.
Like it's just video games.
Yeah.
But no, I don't. Never have.
I went to I found a decent like secondhand video game store here, or well, I guess in West Virginia, and I was looking for a copy of Tony Hawk 3, and I was struck by like these guys have the greatest job in the world because they just I guess if you're going into the retro game store, they assume that you both know what you want and you know your way around there, so they don't even get up. Like they just leave you be.
They don't even talk to you. They don't even say hello.
Need any help? No. then they just leave you, and then they just continue on about their conversation. But they at least asked. There was also like a tabletop gaming place that we went into, like a sports collectible place. They actively like did not say anything, like looked at you, made eye contact, and went right back to what they were doing. I was like, damn, respect. Like, how is this place still open?
They're trying to scare you out of buying
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah.
Vladimir Plantin said, I think if New York Times Square was going to install a black woman's statue, it should be Harriet Tubman, the slavery abolitionist who lived in Auburn, New York from 1859 until her passing in 1913.
But you're missing the point. You can't deconstruct anything when you do that. That has a very specific meaning.
Yeah, I think it should be Loretta from Family Guy.
Were they actually planning on putting Harriet Tubman on the $20 bill? Or was that just something that was brought up?
I think it was talk. I'm not sure how realistic it was.
I hope it's not true. Pop Culture Junkie said, I can tell the GLP-1 drugs are popular. The Cheetos factory 4 blocks from me has eliminated a shift, selling my Pepsi stock who owns Frito-Lay.
Yeah.
You're keeping a close eye on things.
We, so recently we went to the Utz. Which one is it?
It's Utz.
Is it Utz?
It's
Utz?
definitely Utz. It's not Utz.
I thought it was Utz.
It is not Utz.
Whatever
Back me
it
up
is.
on this, chat. It is not Utz.
Whatever it is, we went to the factory outlet recently. Got a whole bunch of bags.
They give you free chips, right?
I mean, they put a free bag of chips in with our thing, and we spent $11 for like just a freaking garbage bag of stuff, and $5 of that was like this like party pretzel pack that we got her dad, like Olivia's father. Pretzels.
You got pretzels.
We got that specifically
Utz.
and paid full price for that. The rest of it was just like an ungodly amount of stuff that is unhealthy for you for like nothing. They're just giving it away. They're throwing it at you.
I mean, it's not worth much.
And then there's also like a Snyder's of Hanover outlet store like right over there that has all the Snack Factory stuff, which are like the flat pretzels. I love those.
Snack Factory stuff?
Yeah, Snack Factory's a brand.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
I guarantee you've seen the pretzels even if you've never bought them. But yeah, so I'm with him. Like I would go to the Cheetos factory if I could.
James Coderidis said, Mary, Seosin or Senses Fail, stay emo. I don't think I listened to either of them.
Senses Fail.
You're emo.
I'm not emo, but I have listened to Senses Fail.
Joe T said, Brett, being an energy drink connoisseur, what's your take on G Fuel? Favorite flavor?
Never had it my entire life. I had one C4 and it made my face feel funny. And if I'm going to have my face feel funny because of something I ingest, it better feel good too. It shouldn't just be funny. Like, that's all I'm saying. So I've long since abandoned a life where I took stuff that made my face feel funny. And if I'm going to have my face feel funny, it's not going to be from an energy drink. That's for sure.
I just learned what Four Loko is yesterday. I didn't know that it was an energy drink.
Real Four Loko or
real Four Loko?
the redesigned Four Loko that they
banned the real Four Loko.
Yeah, the real Four Loko.
I never had either of them.
They
so
took it
I
off the
don't know.
market because it was too strong.
People were dying.
I'm not sure about dying, but
Do you see that tweet the other week? There's they need to bring back that lemonade that kills you from Panera.
I never got to try it. I really wish I had gotten the chance.
I did always want to try
That was
though.
like
It's
one
person has a
and
heart condition.
has a heart
and
condition. That was just some bullshit. Red Snow said 3 out of 4. Didn't realize was watching 3 fats. I don't get
I'm
it.
the fat.
Oh, that 3 out of 4 Americans are overweight.
Yeah.
I see. Shane H. Wilder said, Weight Watchers just need to make a Lunchable with an Ozempic Capri Sun.
Holy shit! That's
That's such a good idea.
That's the greatest idea I've ever heard.
It just counteracts the food.
I will say, before they do that, they need to bring back the taco Lunchable, which was one of the most disgusting.
None of them were that great.
Which was one of the most disgusting and amazing pieces of like modern chemistry that's ever been created.
Look, Lunchables are bad, but there are companies that make the same concept that are really good.
Also cheaper,
yeah,
usually.
I mean, Lunchables were always just like charcuterie for kids. That's all it was.
Yeah, but it's like, you're getting like the turkey that's full of all the nitrates and all the bad stuff, and you're getting the ham that's really, it's got tons and tons and extra salt and stuff. But you can get like, I forget the company, but there are companies that make, they got bagel chips instead of crackers, and they've got like, decent meats like prosciutto,
I believe.
I like the deep dish pizza Lunchable.
I imagine
so,
that was not really good.
There's a deep dish version.
and
think
it's
they probably
the
have it.
cost is absolutely insane.
That's insane.
It's like even less. It fills you up to 0% and still costs like $8,000.
No Control said, we need an app where Scary Mary will appear and slap donuts out of your mouth, then steal your car.
So you have to walk to get. So then you have to walk to
steal
get
your
there.
car, so you have to exercise. Hiroshima Otaru said, first Avatar only did well because of the visuals.
Well, then why did the second one do so well?
Because of the visuals. But it just ended up playing on all of the TVs in Best Buy forever.
Yep.
Pop Culture Junkie
Look how
said,
great this computer or this TV looks.
I eat 140,000 calories a week. I distribute them so some days I'm at a deficit from the 20K average, so other days I can have dessert or some Cheetos.
That's not how it works, homie. You need to have a caloric deficit over a significant period of time.
That doesn't sound even like physically possible. 140,000 calories a week?
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's not even possible. How do you have the time of day?
Respect.
Damn. Abstract Cats official TSG said, I was born a poor black child. I don't know what that means. Well-Spoken Token said, I agree, Mary. I feel like I was the only one in my friend group who hated the Batman. Personally, I think the movie insists upon itself.
More
What does
Family
that-
Guy,
what
more
does
Family
that
Guy
mean?
reference. That's Family Guy reference.
Oh, it's a Family Guy reference. Okay.
I didn't get it, so I don't know.
It's a Family Guy reference.
Red Snow said, Phil was right. Trivium is a band, and Bullet rocked.
Trivium is a band.
It certainly is. Shane H.
They're a band
Wilder.
and they're from Florida.
As a Catholic who has done a few black fasts, I can say that Zins and black coffee help with the hunger pains. Well, yeah, but if you want to do a real black fast, then you don't even get Zins. You have to fast from Zins, too. I could never.
What's a black fast?
It just means not eating for a day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'm doing a black fast today. You're just not eating
Just
any
water?
food. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Gordon Shumway said, Brett, even if you make equal money, she still needs to have her escape money fund. His money is our money. Her money is her money.
That is the truth.
Escape fund?
Yeah, in case he's a bad guy. In case he does something bad, and so that way she can leave.
I see like women saying, like married women on social media saying, this is your essential list for your go bag. And they're like explaining to other married women how to prepare an escape plan with a go bag if in case their husband just turns evil one day.
Episode of Criminal Minds.
It's insane. Greg Duvier said, my pregnant wife tells me that I have no idea what it's like being pregnant. I say, you're right, and I will never know.
Yeah, it's true.
It is true. Shane H. Wilder said, Phil,
Tell her you'll never understand what it's like to be a man with a cold.
That's so true, too.
Like, you know, like, sure, that's bad and all, but have you ever been stuffy nose while male?
Yeah. There's nothing that compares. Shane H. Wilder said that, Phil, the band Shockwire disagrees with you. They put out a song called I Drive the Speed Limit because there's drugs in the car.
Well, look, here's the deal.
Yeah, but you don't do that in the left lane.
You don't do that in the left lane, and I personally am not. I disapprove of driving with drugs in the car.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Drugs stay home.
Arsenal Man said, some days I feel so alone I could cry, but I don't, because what would be the point? Not a single person in the entire universe would care.
No one cares.
Men. Do men actually feel that way? Because I feel like women just genuinely have the urge to cry more often.
Oh, yeah, women.
It's not like men are walking around like constantly suppressing the urge to cry.
Yeah, women cry way more.
Because if that's your experience, you've got a problem.
Women will cry because like they had a, they were stressed out. Like they, like they can't get the key in the lock. They had a bad day. They were stressed out. They can't get the key in the lock for some reason. It's just not working.
That
and
just
that's
makes
it.
a guy angry.
Over. It's over. Crying is coming.
Actually, never mind. I'm not going to tell that story.
Okay.
We'll just continue.
Right.
Continue.
Red Snow said you were thinking of a stockade, Mary, not gallows. Oh, okay. I only meant not the death penalty, but a stockade if you're like just in the public square for mocking for the day. Hiroshima Otaru said, Mary, the gallows are a capital punishment. I had it wrong. AI Shih Tzu said, how do you write your women so well? I think of a man, then I take away reason and accountability. LOL. As good as it gets. Quality flick.
Yep. Jack
Haven't seen
Nicholson. That's a Jack Nicholson line. I think of a man. Then I take a way.
Thank you. James Coderidis said, be vulnerable with your buddies, not with your girl. I mean, I think that you can be vulnerable without crying. That too. Like, crying isn't the only version of being vulnerable.
The local Wendigo, hold please, thank you. The local Wendigo says, suffer in silence and die alone. Who said that?
Well, my good friend Brett Dasovich, of course.
Yeah.
The local Wendigo.
No, I think it was suffer in silence and die young, actually. You said people should suffer in silence and die young.
Said men used to suffer in silence. when we were a proper country, men would suffer in silence and die alone. Not overshare on social media about all the things that make them sad.
Red Snow said, it's definitely uts, not oots, but top kek for oots. Wow, it's been a while since I've seen someone say top kek. That's crazy. Dreamcast Knight said, shout out to Casual Geographic, who is laughing at the 100 men versus gorilla, one chimpanzee, or a gang river otters would be way worse. Black Air Force energy, lol. A gang of river otters? Are they aggressive? I didn't know.
That's a great
They're
name,
so
by the
cute.
way.
Arsenal Man said Lunchables are MREs for kids. Same stuff.
I mean,
when we used to have MREs at the old location, I just eat them for fun. I like the
For
MREs.
fun.
Yeah, I like the MREs.
I mean, it's not fun, but I did eat
no,
some of them.
they were fun. They're pretty good. The tortellini was good. The tacos were good. I liked all the MREs. I mean, not all of them, but all the ones that I were like types of food that I would like. I definitely enjoyed. I like the vegetable lasagna.
they're all sufficient when you're starving.
Yep.
Shane H. Wilder said, y'all laughed so hard at the Ozempic Lunchable that I'm going to have to make it now. I wonder if I still have the template from the Brett/Mary Lunchables. Oh, yeah, I remember that. The Brett and Mary Lunchables.
Yep.
We should sell those. Pop Culture Junkie said, so sorry, too many zeros meant 14,000 calories a week. 2,000 is neutral, my bad. Yeah, 140,000 would have you immediately in the grave.
You'd need a lot of...
That didn't even sound like...
I mean, there'd be so many crumble cookies. That would be great.
Yeah.
I've never had a crumble cookie.
The caloric density of crumble must be studied.
It is they're insane.
It's hard to even believe.
We did go get, what was it, like soft serve from Sweet Frog the other night.
Next to the crumble.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't go for the crumble? Why haven't you tried it yet?
Everyone
should try it.
I have no desire to eat crumble.
Why?
They're so good.
You're not a cookie person?
I don't have a problem with cookies, but I'd rather get the ice cream.
Let me look up how many calories are in one.
High Voltage 37 on Rumble says, Mary, did you tell Phil about your drunken antics on Cinco de Mayo?
I did not.
There you go.
Okay, so basically we didn't go live on Monday because I had to take my car to get worked on because I don't want to even explain what happened, but it was terrible. And then I walked from the shop to the Mexican restaurant across the street because it was Cinco de Mayo, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a margarita and then
Another one
and shots.
Oh, really?
Because then there were these guys who were hammered and buying everybody shots. And it was like literally just the middle of the afternoon on Cinco de Mayo. You can imagine the type of people who were there. And then, the free chips and everything. And I was just completely out of my mind and staggered back over to the shop. And then in the waiting room, there's a guy who just turns to me and says, are you Mary from Timcast? And I had to kind of keep my composure as best as I could. I mean, yeah, I wanted him to not notice, but I'm not sure if it was even possible at that point.
Did you drive drunk home?
No, it was still a wait by the time I came back because they were not sure if they were gonna be able to fix it by the time they closed. So I was still waiting, but I was thinking I might even have to Uber for the next day.
Chicken
afterwards.
jockey.
Then there was also a child in the waiting room who was saying chicken jockey, and I was like, is this even real?
What is a chicken jockey?
It's from the Minecraft movie. All the kids are saying it. There are 720 calories in a chocolate chip cookie.
That's just the small ones, right? Not the big ones?
That was the full-size one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's way better than I thought.
Not that bad.
Some of the specialty ones where they put the toppings and everything, that can be over 1,000 sometimes. So watch out.
Well, I tell you what, it's worth it. They're delicious, but you can only have them like once a month.
Are we all caught up on the super chats?
We are all caught up.
And the Rumble rants as well?
We are all caught up. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you to everybody who's starting to tune in over at Rumble as well, and to everyone on YouTube. Guys, hit the like button on this video, please, wherever you are watching from, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and you have not subscribed here yet already. You should also go over and rate and review on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. We broke 1,000 reviews over there on Spotify, but we would like to get more.
We want written reviews on Apple Podcasts. On Spotify, you can't write a review, but on Apple, you can, and I would love to go through reading some of them one day. We've done it before, but I think there'd be a lot more when we check back in.
All right. Phil, where can they find you?
I am Phil That Remains on Twix. I'm Phil That Remains official on Instagram. The band is All That Remains. You can check out our stuff on Apple Music, Amazon Music, Pandora, Deezer. I feel like I'm missing.
You always forget one.
Yeah, I feel like I'm missing one too.
You know.
Another thing, on May 21st, and this is the first time I'm announcing it, I did a collab with Nick Nocturnal. So that'll be available. You can check that out on his either All That Remains Spotify page or his Spotify page. It'll be all over the internet too. Don't forget, the left lane is for crying.
All right.
PCC exclusive there.
Yeah, first announcement.
You guys can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. I'm also going to be on Timcast IRL tonight, and I'm sure that discussion of the new Pope will be had, and I'll be expected to know everything about this man who I just learned who
exists.
He is.
One more there from Greg Duvier.
This is from Gordon Shumway. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh.
It could have been worse, Mary. At least you didn't turn into a woo girl, right, Mary? Right, Mary? What is a woo girl?
Don't know. Oh,
Is
you
it
get
just-
drunk. Woo!
Oh, no, I did not woo. It wasn't really the setting.
Woo?
Didn't
God,
woo
that's even
either.
worse.
Greg Duvier said, Phil, I'm glad Anti-Fragile is not on cassette tape. I would be on my 5th or so cassette tape.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I appreciate the fact that you like it that much. We're very happy with the record, so.
All right. So you will be on IRL tonight, and you'll know everything about the Pope.
Yup, I'm doing my homework.
Perfect.
Sick.
Guys, if you would like to follow me, I am on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. We are here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen rather than watch. Again, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. That would help a lot, so thank you so much. And if you want to follow us on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. I think there's one more there, Mary.
Yes, Shane H. Wilder said the guy wanted to know if you were Mary from Timcast because of the hit and run. LOL, JK. That's definitely a joke. That did not happen. Yeah, it was an awkward moment for me.
All right.
Not good.
With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We will see y'all then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.